Hi, I'm Melissa Starker of Columbus Alive, and thanks for joining us for The Pulse. Writer-director David Gordon Green has made a name in the indie film world with lyrical, Southern-based coming-of-age stories like George Washington and All the Real Girls. His latest, Snow Angels, starring Kate Beckinsale, Sam Rockwell, Michael Anganaro, and Juno's Olivia Thirlby, heads north for a winter's tale of three couples touched by tragedy. Despite a somber filmography so far, Green actually has a really good sense of humor. It pops up in all his films, but it will be fully unleashed in his next one, Pineapple Express, a comedy produced by Judd Apatow and starring Seth Rogen. Before Snow Angels had its local premiere at the Wexner Center last week, Green talked with me about both movies and a couple other projects he has up his sleeve. Well, actually, I guess I should start with a very basic question, which is, we're going to be putting this online before the film comes out, and if you'd like to just describe a little bit.
Do you have a sledgehammer in your heart? Because I have a sledgehammer in my heart. Are you ready to be my sledgehammer?
It's a movie based on a novel by Stuart Annan that I read a few years back and was really kind of affected by the characters and their relationships. And it, there's nothing revolutionary in its concept, but it's three intertwining love stories in a small town, and just the various perspectives on the point and dynamic of those relationships really struck to me. It's basically three different generations. The early stages of those emotional connections and attachments, and the 45 seconds before the first kiss kind of awkward anxieties, and this kind of wonderful moments that you can't help but smile about, and then also some of the darker, more detached downward spirals of what happens when you're not communicating, you're not listening.
Okay.
Well, adaptations are an interesting game because you've got the structure kind of laid out for you, assuming you like the book, and you have authority to plagiarize all the stuff you love and play cinematically, and then you reinvent and restructure and eliminate characters and condense and sabotage and butcher the author's original vision. But no, luckily in this case, the Stuart Annan, the novelist, really puts his stamp of approval on the movie. And even though we did kind of transform the time and take some of those broad stroke conceptual changes, it does keep within the kind of bold, broad stroke familiarity of those who love the novel. I think are going to walk away pretty satisfied. So,
building character is a key element to how you work, and was wondering how you worked on details and character in this particular film.
In terms of building character, I talked to the actors. We have the book as a reference and a resource, tons of art direction value and that subtext for the actors and what they want to do. But I start with making lists of what they wear and what music they listen to, and kind of who they are, where they come from, and just nothing nothing beyond a textbook kind of architecture of a character. And then I hopefully have cast people that bring themselves to the role, so that we don't have to bring the scripts to the set, and we can pull from our own experience and things that we've heard or have said or have affected us, and go from there.
I was reading the press notes, and it said you hadn't really thought of Sam Rockwell in the part when you were writing it, which is interesting to me because when I was watching it, I was thinking, this is one of those parts that Sam Rockwell takes where I can't imagine anybody else in it. Yeah. And I was wondering how he sort of came to the part.
I know. I just thought I'd say hello. I got a new job.
You got a job?
I'm not as much of a screw-up as you think I am.
In the writing of it, in the reading of the novel, I pictured someone more intimidating physically, and when I was developing the script, it was for another director who had his own ideas, and it was a very collaborative kind of pretty wonderful educational experience. It's the first time I'd worked for someone as a writer, and then designing Glenn, we had a lot of ideas. And then when I'd heard that Jesse, the director, had attached Sam, all of a sudden it was first confused, and it's like, what? But how? And then of course, and wow, that was amazing. To instead of capturing somebody that had kind of the obvious dramatic Oscar caliber presence and initiative with his performance, it was a guy that was vulnerable and physical and interesting and funny, and that makes it so much more of a character that I think ultimately benefits Glenn as a guy that you want to put your hand on his shoulder and have him fix himself, have him put his pieces back together, and he's just a broken little boy that you love, and he's not a villain in any way, and the things that the things that he does that are bad are we just want him to do better.
Pineapple Express, which is your upcoming film with Judd Apatow and Seth Rogen. And I was curious how you hooked up with Judd Apatow.
I guess we had mutual friends. Like, you know, it was they were filming Knocked Up at the time, and
Okay.
I went and visited the set and realized really quickly that their manner of making movies, in terms of level of improvisation and the collaborative effort of all the department heads and the loyalty they have for their crew, they were making movies in a really familiar manner to the way that we were making movies. And so I say we, you know, I have a collective of guys that I went to film school with from
Right.
North Carolina that have worked together and at that point had made 4 films together. Mm-hmm. And they had, you know, certainly had were in the stride of their commercial success, and this is when Knocked Up was in production. And Shauna Robertson and Evan Goldberg and Seth Rogen and Judd Apatow just were really kind of warm, inviting, enthusiastic, funny, sensitive people that just like, oh, immediately, these would be great people to work with. They were, and the industry's looking to them to kind of help navigate commercial comedies.
Right.
I'm looking to break into, you know, exploit my sense of humor a little bit more on a larger palette. So Evan and Seth gave me a script that they'd written, and it just seemed like a perfect opportunity to kind of blend their team and sensibility and my team and sensibility and make something that was simultaneously enormously commercial and absolutely experimental.
I also heard that you might be remaking Suspiria?
Yeah, I'm working on that. I've written with the sound designer that's worked on all my movies. We've co-written a script together that's kind of a reimagining, as if we're approaching it more as if kind of like a restaging of an opera.
Okay.
Like a very experimental art film.
Snow Angels begins its theatrical run in Columbus on Friday, April 4th, and you'll find more on the film in the April 3rd edition of Columbus Alive. Pineapple Express opens nationwide on August 8th. For Columbus Alive and ColumbusAlive.com, thanks again for watching.